What if the biggest WNBA showdown of the night suddenly became a question of survival? Clark and Paige Bueckers were set to meet in a matchup packed with playoff pressure, but before the opening tip, one major question had Fever fans watching the injury report closely: would Clark actually be healthy enough to play? Indiana came into the game at 21-12, Dallas at 20-14, and with the postseason race tightening, this was never going to feel like an ordinary Friday night. Clark was listed as probable with a back injury, while Aaliyah Boston was also probable with a right lower leg issue. Across the court, Dallas had a much tougher injury situation. Azzi Fudd was out with a right knee injury, Isaiah James was sidelined with a lower leg injury, and Jessica Shepard was out with an ankle problem. That meant Paige Bueckers was walking into one of the biggest games of the season with even more responsibility on her shoulders. And here's the part that makes this matchup so fascinating. These teams had already shown that they can turn a game into a scoring battle. Dallas defeated Indiana 107-104 in the season opener, proving that the Wings weren't intimidated by the Fever or by the spotlight surrounding Clark. Now the Fever had a chance to answer back on their home floor, and the stakes were much higher with the playoff race moving into its most important stretch. Clark had also been playing with serious momentum. Coming into the matchup, she had scored at least 19 points in 6 straight games, while Indiana had won 7 of its previous 9. The Fever were sitting near the top of the Eastern Conference at 21-12, tied with Atlanta, so every win mattered. A victory over Dallas wouldn't just add another number to the win column, it would strengthen Indiana's position heading toward the postseason. But Dallas had its own superstar ready to make a statement. Paige Bueckers had recently delivered a huge second-half performance against Toronto, scoring 22 points while adding 8 assists and 3 steals. That comeback performance showed exactly why Dallas still believed it could compete even while dealing with major injuries. When Bueckers gets hot, the entire complexion of a game can change in minutes. And that's why the Clark-Bueckers matchup was so compelling. It's not simply about two young stars sharing the spotlight. It's about two players being asked to carry enormous expectations for franchises trying to build something bigger. Clark brings the deep shooting, playmaking, and ability to completely change the pace of a game. Bueckers brings control, creativity, and the ability to create offense when the defense thinks it has everything covered. There's another important factor here that many casual viewers could miss. Indiana wasn't only relying on Clark. Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston gave the Fever additional scoring options, while Dallas had players like Eriko Gunbol capable of changing a game in a hurry. So even if one superstar struggled, the supporting cast could ultimately decide who walked away with the win. The standings made the matchup even more important. Minnesota was sitting comfortably atop the Western Conference, with Las Vegas and Golden State also near the top. Dallas was trying to protect its playoff position, while Indiana was battling Atlanta, New York and Washington in a crowded Eastern Conference race. And then there was the second WNBA game of the night. The Portland Fire were scheduled to face the Seattle Storm at 10 p.m. Eastern at Climate Pledge Arena. Portland entered at 13-20, while Seattle was 7-28, and the injury report added another layer to that matchup, with Sonia Fegan and Flaujay Johnson among those listed out. But make no mistake, the spotlight belonged to Fever vs. Wings. Clark vs. Paige Bueckers. Indiana vs. Dallas. A rematch between two teams that had already produced a thriller, now meeting with playoff positioning on the line. The real question wasn't simply who would score more points. It was which young superstar could handle the pressure when the game became tight, which supporting cast would step up, and whether the injuries would finally catch up with one of these teams. Because at this point in the WNBA season, there are no meaningless games. And when the final buzzer sounds, the scoreboard will tell us who won. But the bigger story could be what this matchup tells us about the future of the WNBA, and whether Clark and Paige Bueckers are already becoming the faces of its next great rivalry. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Primeware, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest news. Thanks for watching.